Epic adventures of history. Anywhere. Versus Bair. Begin. Oh. Oh, God, it's in my mouth. Ugh. All right, we're starting our day off by crossing the bridge into Washington. Let's go. Psych. We're going on a Mount Hood adventure. Woo! Hey guys, I'm out on this hike right now to some waterfalls, but I thought I'd take a minute to talk to you about how freaking hot it is. Well, not really hot, humid. And that humidity stops me from sweating and releasing heat. But why is it so humid? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, that's because the Pacific Northwest is a rainforest. And you ask, what's the difference between a jungle and a rainforest? Well, of course I know the answer to that. It's because a jungle is in tropical regions where there's a lot of dense foliage across the forest floor, but it has adequate access to sunlight and it uses the humidity from the area or from the region to actually keep the plant life alive. Well, in this region with rainforests, it has a dense tree canopy over top, which keeps the moisture and heat in like a greenhouse effect. And so the plants don't have a lot of access to sunlight, but they have all the moisture and heat and abundance that they need to stay alive. And a lot of them actually thrive in those conditions. You know, in some ways, we are a lot like plants, and that's because they need water, they need carbon dioxide, and they need ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Now, I know that because science nerd. And what it is they get sunlight hitting them, and that energy actually causes them to release the nutrients that they need to feed on to survive. Not all plant life is like that, but humans don't actually get vitamin D from the sun. We produce it in our bodies when exposed to the energy from the UV rays. So, hello plant brothers. Pretty cool science. Let's get to these falls. Guys, this is really loud right here, but check out what I found. All right, I'm gonna do the basic thing, and I'm gonna go behind the waterfall. Woo! Oh man. So this is why all those girls on Instagram go under waterfalls. Really cool. Guys, I know I've been harping on about geology for the last few episodes. Well, all the episodes, but man, check out this geologic formation right here. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. Is there a word for people who are in love with natural formations? Man, I thought some of the other spots that I had hiked were steep, but this has got to be, at least in some spots, at 30% grade. Whew. And I'm in the alpine, which means thin air and no tree cover. So, this is definitely going to be one heck of a hike. Right now, I'm in what's referred to as the Alpine Desert. Now, it's high up in elevation enough to where the air is too thin for trees to actually grow. But there are a lot of little flowers along the ground that are just in full bloom right now. And that's amazing. It's really colorful up here. If you're doing a strenuous hike like this, I'd recommend eating an avocado first because they're full of potassium and they'll help you not get cramped up. But in the rare case that you are allergic to an avocado, a great alternative is a banana. This is a tough one. This is pure glacier water, straight from the source. Take that, Dasani. Welcome to Mount Hood, or at least the base of the summit. And if you don't know, Mount Hood is one of the volcanoes along the Cascade Mountain Range, which is on the Pacific Rim. No, not that Pacific Rim. It's the tectonic plate of the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate, and all the plates all the way around the Pacific Ocean. Now, Mount Hood is very active in terms of geological events because its last eruption was 1907, and you can see evidence of that all over here. The eruption right before that was in the 1780s, which was actually about 20 years before Lewis and Clark came through. So they actually would have seen evidence of a volcanic eruption relatively new. Now, volcanoes are dangerous because of three main factors. One, the pyroclastic flume or flow, and that is the ash and superheated smoke that are coming up out of the volcano. And that is so hot. How hot is it? So hot that it will actually create enough kinetic energy to create its own weather, okay? And as that falls and cools, it's still really hot and can cause a lot of damage. Why that pyroclastic flow is so dangerous is because it can actually flow at over 450 miles per hour, and that is outrageously fast. The second main danger in a volcanic eruption is what's called a lahar. And if you don't know what a lahar is, that's okay. I'll explain it right now. And that is the energy from the volcano will cause a type of mudslide. But that mudslide is different from a normal one in that the actual earth is being liquefied because of the intense energy and heat. And then on top of that, you have all the rocks and all of the trees and debris that are going down in it, and the pyroclastic flow, which is your ash and molten materials that are going into it. So imagine a wall of mud 100 feet tall traveling at 120 miles per hour. You cannot outrun that, and entire civilizations have been wiped off the map because of it. Although Mount Hood isn't going to erupt today or even anytime soon, it still it's not any less eerie standing at the rim of the Lahar runoff. I can see all the way down in the valley below where the last eruption in 1907 happened. And if it erupted today, I could not outrun it. I would be dead before I even took a couple steps. So it definitely gives you a little bit of pause for your place in the world, standing at the mouth of such a gigantic monster. It's amazing. And the third most dangerous portion of volcanic eruption are what are called lava bombs. And those are molten rock at about 2200 degrees Fahrenheit being thrown up into the air in that pyroclastic flow, and then being cast miles away, and then landing and starting forest fires or landing on buildings, on cars, on people, any number of places. And that has caused numerous deaths across the world. As that pyroclastic flow ends up settling and coming down, it becomes colder and denser So it actually will compact and form what's called pyroclastic rocks. And there's evidence of that all over this entire mountainside. And it's really interesting to see because it's a type of sedimentary rock and that is eroding over time, and it's made this entire hike up to this point just a total pain in my butt. I gotta say, it was really steep and I was sliding backwards most of the time. So, oh man, I'm glad to be done with it. You know, some people say knowing about something takes the magic out of it. I would have to argue quite the opposite, because knowing as many things as I can about the world around me has given me so many more perspectives, and I would have to say it's made it even more magical. It makes the world even more beautiful, and I'm glad that I get to share it with you guys. Let's go adventuring. All right, that about does it for this mountain. Bye, Mount Hood! You dangerous monster. Hello, Mount St. Helens.